First contact in the Arctic. The windswept Arctic research station creaked under the assault of another bitter gust. Dr. Thora Winters adjusted her thermal sensors, frowning at the readings that made absolutely no sense. The ice shelf shouldn't be emitting that kind of energy signature, especially not 2 kilometers below the surface. "You seeing this, Raj?" She called out to her research partner, who was hunched over his own set of instruments. The dark-skinned man nodded without looking up, his fingers flying over the keyboard. "Third confirmation. Whatever's down there, it's getting stronger," Raj replied, finally meeting her gaze. "And it's definitely not geothermal." Their small research station, positioned on the edge of the Greenland ice sheet, had been monitoring the effects of climate change for the past 18 months. But in the last 72 hours, everything had changed. It started with a subtle anomaly in their readings, a heat signature that seemed to pulse with an almost mechanical regularity. Thora pulled up the 3-dimensional mapping of the ice sheet on the main display. The energy signature pulsed like a heartbeat, a soft blue glow against the white backdrop of ice. "We need to get down there." "The board will never approve an emergency drilling operation," Raj said, but he was already pulling up the equipment inventory. Not without months of environmental impact studies. A violent tremor shook the station, sending cups and equipment crashing to the floor. Thora grabbed the edge of her desk, steadying herself as the vibrations intensified. The monitors flickered, and then every screen in the station lit up with the same pattern. Concentric circles expanding outward from the source of the energy signature. "I don't think we're going to need to drill," Thora whispered, watching as the ice beneath their station began to glow. The next few hours were chaos. The energy signature had begun melting the ice from within, creating a perfect circular shaft that descended into the depths. News helicopters and military aircraft crowded the skies above their station, but Thora and Raj had the advantage of being first on site. Using their research station's equipment, they managed to lower a probe into the shaft. The footage it sent back left them speechless. A smooth metallic surface buried deep within the ice, its surface covered in swirling patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. "This changes everything," Raj breathed, his eyes wide as he studied the footage. "This is first contact." But Thora wasn't listening. Something else had caught her attention. A movement at the edge of the probe's camera view. "Raj, pan right. There's something." The camera swung around, revealing a figure half embedded in the ice. It was humanoid but clearly not human, its skin a pale lavender color with intricate markings that pulsed with the same energy they'd been detecting. "It's alive," Thora gasped, watching the creature's chest rise and fall slowly. "We need to get down there. Now." Despite the military's attempts to quarantine the area, Thora and Raj managed to convince them that their expertise was crucial for a safe approach to the discovery. Within hours, they were being lowered into the shaft, their thermal suits equipped with additional sensors and recording equipment. The air grew warmer as they descended, the walls of the shaft smooth and perfectly circular. When they finally reached the bottom, Thora's breath caught in her throat. The metallic surface they'd seen through the probe stretched out before them, part of what appeared to be a massive spacecraft. But it was the figure in the ice that drew their attention. Up close, they could see that it was female, her features delicate but alien, with geometric patterns etched into her skin that glowed with a soft inner light. "She's in some kind of stasis," Raj said, scanning the ice surrounding the figure. "These readings, it's like the ice itself was transformed into a preservation medium." Thora stepped closer, studying the alien's face. Her eyes were closed, but there was something about her expression. Attention, as if she were aware on some level of their presence. The ice around the figure suddenly began to crack, hairline fractures spreading outward like a spider's web. Thora and Raj stumbled backward as the alien's eyes snapped open, revealing irises that swirled with the same patterns that covered her skin. The ice exploded outward, and the alien fell forward. Thora rushed to catch her, surprised by how light she was. The alien's skin was warm to the touch despite her icy prison, and those remarkable eyes focused immediately on Thora's face. "The beacon," the alien gasped, her voice resonating with an otherworldly harmonic. "Did it reach them? Did they receive our warning?" Thora shook her head, trying to process the fact that the alien was speaking perfect English. "Warning? What warning?" The alien struggled to sit up, her movements graceful despite her obvious weakness. "I am Zyra, last sentinel of the luminary, and your world is in terrible danger." As if in response to her words, the spacecraft's surface began to pulse with increasing intensity, and new symbols appeared, scrolling across its surface like liquid light. Red's instruments went haywire, and somewhere far above them, they could hear the ice continuing to crack and shift. "Help me stand," Zyra said, her voice stronger now. "There isn't much time. What I have to show you, it will change your understanding of everything, your past, your future, and humanity's place in the galaxy." Thora and Raj exchanged glances, both knowing that this moment would reshape human history forever. As they helped Zyra to her feet, the alien's markings began to glow brighter, and the ship's surface responded in kind, creating a light show that transformed the icy chamber into a cathedral of shifting colors. "Your world is not ready," Zyra continued, her voice heavy with urgency. "But it must be. They are coming, and this time, they will not show mercy." The hidden message. The military quarantine zone around the ice shaft had tripled in size over the last 24 hours. Inside the makeshift command center, Dr. Thora Winters watched as Zyra placed her hand against a holographic display that had emerged from the recovered artifacts of her ship. The alien's markings pulsed with each interaction, casting ethereal patterns across the reinforced walls. "Your species calls them the Auroras," Zyra explained, manipulating the display to show a complex network of energy patterns spanning Earth's polar regions. "But they are much more than simple atmospheric phenomena. They are remnants of an ancient defense network created by my people thousands of years ago." Raj leaned forward, his scientific curiosity overwhelming his caution. "The Northern Lights are alien technology." "A side effect of it," Zyra corrected, her expression grave. "The true network lies dormant beneath the ice of both poles. We were young then, much like your species is now. We thought we could protect ourselves from what lurks in the dark spaces between stars. We were wrong." General Diana Reeves, who had been silently observing from the corner, finally spoke. "What exactly are we protecting ourselves from?" Her voice carried the weight of someone who had seen enough to know when a threat was real. Zyra's markings dimmed slightly, a sign they had learned indicated distress or deep concern. "We called them the Void Hunters. They are ancient, patient, and methodical in their destruction of emerging civilizations. They believe that only they have the right to traverse the stars." The holographic display shifted, showing what appeared to be massive crystalline structures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "They attacked without warning, without mercy. My people were scattered, forced to flee to the far corners of the galaxy. Some of us remained behind, entering stasis to guard the defense network, waiting for the day another species might rise to help us reclaim what was lost." Thora felt a chill run down her spine that had nothing to do with the Arctic cold. "And they're coming here, to Earth. They already know of your existence," Zyra said softly. "Your radio signals, your space explorations, they have been watching, waiting for you to reach a certain level of development. Just as they did with us." General Reeves straightened, her military training kicking in. "How long do we have?" "Months, perhaps a year." Zyra manipulated the display again, showing a series of calculations that made Raj gasp in recognition. "They travel through what you would call spatial folds, but each jump must be precisely calculated. They are methodical in their approach." "These calculations," Raj interjected, "they're similar to some of our recent theoretical work in quantum physics. Dr. Nakamura in Tokyo published something similar last year, but the energy requirements were impossible." "Not impossible," Zyra corrected, her markings brightening. just beyond your current technology. But perhaps not for long. She turned to face them fully, her alien features set with determination. What I'm about to share with you was meant to be revealed gradually, over decades. But we no longer have that luxury. The holographic display expanded, filling the room with intricate technical schematics. These are the blueprints for integration points, places where human technology can interface with our dormant defense systems. But it will require resources, cooperation on a global scale, and trust between our peoples. General Reeves barked a short laugh. Global cooperation. Half the world's governments still don't even believe you're real. We've managed to keep this contained so far, but eventually, someone's going to leak something. Then perhaps, Zyra said, her voice taking on an edge they hadn't heard before, it's time to stop containing and start revealing. Your world must unite, or it will fall, just as mine did. As if in response to her words, the entire command center suddenly trembled. On the monitors, they could see new energy signatures emerging from beneath the ice, more stasis pods awakening. My sentinels, Zyra breathed, her markings pulsing rapidly. They sensed the approaching danger. They're awakening early. Through the reinforced windows, the aurora borealis began to dance with unprecedented intensity, its colors shifting to include patterns and hues never before seen in Earth's skies. Phones started ringing throughout the command center as reports flooded in from observation stations across the Arctic Circle. Well, General Reeves said dryly, checking her buzzing phone, I guess containment is no longer an option. The light show is visible from Oslo to Anchorage. Thora moved to stand beside Zyra, watching as the aliens' markings synchronized with the patterns in the sky. What happens now? Now, Zyra replied, her voice carrying both hope and apprehension. We see if humanity is ready to face its greatest challenge. The next few days will determine whether your species becomes part of a legacy of resistance or another tragedy in the Void Hunters' long history of conquest. The holographic display shifted one final time, showing a countdown that made everyone in the room fall silent. It was counting down from 327 days, and every human present understood with crushing clarity that they were watching the time remaining until Earth faced its first interstellar war. Echoes of the past. The underground facility beneath the Antarctic Research Station hummed with activity. 3 weeks had passed since Zyra's awakening, and the world above had changed dramatically. The night sky now danced with perpetual auroras, their colors telling a story that humanity was only beginning to understand. Dr. Thora Winters stood in the newly constructed integration chamber, watching as Zyra and 5 other awakened luminary worked with an international team of scientists. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, their glowing markings creating complex patterns that interfaced with both alien and human technology. The neural interface is holding steady, Raj announced from his workstation, his voice tight with excitement. We're getting clear readings from all 6 luminary consciousness streams. The chamber itself was a marvel of hybrid technology. What had once been natural ice caves had been transformed into a vast circular room, its walls lined with a combination of advanced human quantum computers and restored luminary biotech. The ceiling rippled with the same living metal they'd discovered in the original ship, now fully awakened and responsive. Your species adapts remarkably quickly, observed Nixis, one of the newly awakened luminary. Unlike Zyra's lavender skin, Nixis was a deep azure, his markings forming more angular patterns. In my time, it took civilizations decades to grasp even basic integration protocols. General Reeves, who had become a permanent fixture in the facility, stepped forward. We're motivated. Your countdown made sure of that. The mention of the countdown caused a momentary pause in activity. 298 days remained until the predicted arrival of the Void Hunters, and every passing moment felt precious. Show them, Zyra said suddenly, her markings pulsing with purpose. Show them what we discovered in the deep scan. Nixis hesitated, his markings dimming slightly. Are you certain? The implications. They need to know. All of it. The center of the chamber darkened, and a holographic representation of Earth appeared, floating in the air. But this wasn't the Earth they knew. The continents were different, their positions alien to modern eyes. "This was your world," Zyra explained, 200 million years ago, when we first arrived. The revelation sent a shock through the human observers. Thora stepped closer to the hologram, her trained scientist's eye noting familiar geological formations in unfamiliar arrangements. "You've been here before, all this time?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Not us personally," Nixus clarified. "Our ancestors. They came here pursuing the same enemy we face now. The Void Hunters had already destroyed 3 civilizations in this sector of space. Earth was to be their 4th target." The hologram shifted, showing massive structures beneath the ancient oceans and continents. "The defense network wasn't built to protect us," Zyra continued. "It was built to protect you. Our ancestors saw potential in your world's primitive life forms. They saw what you could become." General Reeves crossed her arms. "So they what? Became our guardian angels." "More like gardeners," Nixus replied. "They installed the network, set the sentinels to watch, and let evolution take its course. The Void Hunters found only an apparently primitive world, not worth their effort. They moved on, seeking more advanced prey. But now we've grown too noticeable," Raj concluded, understanding dawning on his face. "Our technology, our expansion into space, has made you a target once again," Zyra finished. "But this time, you have something no other civilization had, us. The knowledge of those who came before, the technology they left behind." The hologram changed again, revealing a vast network of dormant structures beneath Earth's surface. They weren't just under the poles, they were everywhere, waiting to be awakened. "These integration chambers," Thora said slowly, "they're not just for sharing technology, are they? They're activation points for the entire network." Zyra's markings pulsed with approval. The network was never meant to be controlled by either species alone. It requires both human intuition, creativity, and determination, combined with luminary biotechnology and cosmic understanding. A sudden alarm blared through the facility. On the main screens, a new signal appeared. Something large had just emerged from a spatial fold near Jupiter's orbit. "And Scout Probe," Nixus announced, his markings flaring with concern. "They're testing our detection capabilities." The humans and Luminary watched as the mysterious object moved through the solar system, its purpose clear. The enemy was measuring Earth's defenses, analyzing its technology, preparing for what was to come. 298 days, General Reeves muttered. "Will it be enough time?" Zyra turned to face the assembled group, her expression both fierce and determined. "It has to be. But first, you need to understand the price of failure. Nixus, show them what happened to our world." The hologram shifted one final time, and everyone present felt their hearts sink as they witnessed the fate they were working so desperately to avoid. The price of unity. The hologram of the destroyed luminary homeworld faded away, leaving the integration chamber in somber silence. The images of crystalline cities crumbling to dust, of entire continents scared by weapons beyond human comprehension, had left an indelible mark on everyone present. 2 months had passed since the Scout Probe's appearance. The countdown now read 240 days, each tick a reminder of humanity's deadline. But the world above was far from united. The revelation of alien life, of ancient guardians and approaching destroyers, had fractured human society along new lines. Another protest in Beijing, General Reeves announced, tossing a tablet onto the conference table. "They're calling it a hoax, a Western manipulation. Moscow's saying the same thing." Thora rubbed her temples, exhausted from another 18-hour shift. The integration chamber's neural interfaces were taking their toll on the human operators. "We can't blame them. We're asking the world to believe in ancient aliens and a doomsday countdown based on evidence we can't fully share." "Perhaps," Zyra interjected, her markings glowing softly in the dim light. It's time to share more than evidence. Nixus, are the others ready? The azure-skinned luminary nodded gravely. The remaining stasis chambers are prepared. But this course of action, the strain could kill them. Raj looked up from his workstation, concern etched on his features. Kill who? What are you planning? A global awakening, Zaira explained, her voice carrying a weight that made everyone present sit straighter. There are 42 integration chambers scattered across Earth. We've activated 3. The others lie dormant, waiting. With enough luminary consciousness streams, we could activate them all simultaneously. The auroras, Thora breathed, understanding dawning. You're going to make them visible everywhere. More than visible, Nixus added. We're going to make them speak. Every human on Earth will see not just lights, but the truth of what's coming. The memories of our world's destruction, broadcasted directly into the atmospheric phenomenon you call the aurora. General Reeves leaned forward. The strain you mentioned. You're talking about your people, aren't you? The ones still in stasis. Zaira's markings dimmed slightly. To project on such a scale requires tremendous energy. Each luminary who participates will be pushing their bioconnection to its limit. Some may not survive the effort. There has to be another way. Thora protested. We can't ask you to. You don't need to ask. A new voice interrupted. Vena, another awakened luminary, stepped into the chamber. Her silver-toned skin seemed to shimmer in the artificial light. We volunteered millennia ago. When we entered stasis, our purpose was always to protect Earth, no matter the cost. The room's screens suddenly flared to life. The scout probe had reappeared, this time closer to Mars. But it wasn't alone. 3 more spatial folds detected, Raj announced, his voice tight. They're not even trying to hide anymore. They're confident, Nixus observed grimly. They believe we're too divided to mount an effective defense. And they're right, unless we act now. Zaira moved to the center of the chamber, her markings beginning to pulse with increasing intensity. We need your permission, General. Once we begin, there's no turning back. The world will know everything. General Reeves stood still for a long moment, the weight of the decision visible in her stance. Finally, she nodded. Do it. God help us all. But do it. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Luminary were awakened from their ancient slumber, each one immediately understanding and accepting their potential fate. Human technicians worked frantically to prepare the global network of integration chambers, many of which had laid dormant beneath mountains, deserts, and oceans for millions of years. As the moment approached, Thora found Zaira standing alone in the original chamber where they'd first met. Will it work? She asked softly. It has to, Zaira replied, turning to face her. But Thora, there's something you need to know. The neural interface, it goes both ways. When we show humanity our memories, we'll experience yours as well. Every joy, every tragedy, every moment that makes your species unique. You're not just trying to convince humanity of the threat, Thora realized. You're trying to understand us, to truly know if we're worth dying for. Zaira's markings pulsed with what Thora had learned to recognize as affection. We already know you're worth it, but our sacrifice will mean nothing if your species can't overcome its own divisions. The facility's speakers crackled to life with General Reeves's voice. All stations report ready. Commencing global activation in 5 minutes. Zaira took Thora's hand, her skin warm against the humans. Watch the sky, my friend. And remember, what you're about to see is not just our past, but your possible future. Around the world, humans looked up as the auroras began to change, spreading from the poles toward the equator in a cascade of impossible colors. And in the space between light and darkness, 2 species worth of memories began to merge, painting the truth across the canvas of Earth's atmosphere. Dawn of unity. The world changed in a single night, as the merged memories of humanity and the luminary faded from the auroras. A profound silence fell across the globe. In that silence, 8 billion humans grappled with the weight of what they'd witnessed, both the destruction of the luminary homeworld and the terrifying reality of what approached Earth. 30 days had passed since the global awakening. The integration chamber beneath Antarctica now served as the primary command center for Earth's unified defense initiative. Dr. Thora Winters stood before a wall of monitors, each showing a different activation site around the world. The countdown read, 190 days. Status report, General Reeves called out, her voice carrying the same authority, but now tinged with something new, hope. Integration chambers are operating at 97% efficiency. Raj responded, his fingers dancing across his console. The neural network is stable. 17,000 human operators successfully linked with luminary consciousness streams. The global awakening had cost them dearly. 13 luminary had not survived the effort, including Nixus, but their sacrifice had achieved what seemed impossible. It had united humanity against a common threat. The shared experience of the auroras had done more than show the truth. It had created an empathic bridge between all who witnessed it. Zara approached the central platform, her markings glowing with renewed strength. She had been among those who nearly died in the awakening, but her recovery had been remarkable. The defense grid is responding beyond our expectations. Human creativity combined with our technology has yielded solutions we never imagined. On the main screen, a visualization showed the Earth surrounded by layers of shimmering energy fields. The ancient defense network, now fully awakened and enhanced by modern human innovation. Satellites had been retrofitted with luminary biotech, creating a web of early warning systems. Deep beneath the oceans, dormant structures had risen, their purposes finally understood. Contact, a technician shouted. Multiple spatial folds detected at the edge of the solar system. The room erupted into coordinated activity. This wasn't like the scout probes. These signatures were massive, unmistakably the vanguard of the Void Hunters' main fleet. They're early, Thor observed, her heart racing, but her voice steady. They must have detected our defensive preparations. Good, General Reeves said grimly. Let them come while we're ready. Zyra stepped to the center of the chamber, her markings pulsing in sync with the facility's systems. Initiate full neural linkage. All chambers, all operators. It's time to show them what our species can do together. Around the globe, in hidden chambers beneath every continent, humans and luminary joined their consciousness streams. The defense network hummed with power as two species worth of knowledge, determination, and creativity flowed through its ancient circuits. The Void Hunters' ships emerged from their spatial folds, crystalline structures that seemed to devour light itself. They moved with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat, spreading out in attack formations honed by millennia of conquest. But Earth was ready. The first wave of their attack shattered against shields built from human quantum physics and luminary biotechnology. Their second wave met a counterattack of weapons that combined Earth's nuclear science with the luminaries' mastery of stellar energies. They're adapting, Raj warned, watching as the enemy ships shifted their tactics, just like the historical records showed. So are we, Thora responded. She turned to Zura, who nodded in understanding. Execute Protocol Unity, Zyra commanded. Across the planet, every integration chamber activated simultaneously. The auroras returned, but this time they weren't showing memories. They were weapons, channels of pure energy guided by the combined will of two species fighting for survival. The battle raged for hours. Void Hunter ships fell from the sky, their crystalline forms shattering against Earth's atmosphere. But they extracted a heavy toll. Defense platforms destroyed, cities damaged by stray fire, brave operators lost as their neural links overloaded. In the Antarctic chamber, Thora grabbed Zura's hand as the facility shook from a near miss. Together, she said simply. Zyra's markings pulsed in agreement. Together. Through their neural link, Thora felt the presence of countless others, Humans and luminary across the globe, their minds united in purpose. In that unity, they found their greatest strength. Humanity's adaptability and determination merged with luminary wisdom and technology, creating something entirely new. The Void Hunters had never faced such resistance. They had conquered countless worlds, but they had never encountered two species fighting as one. Their perfectly ordered tactics fell apart against the unpredictable creativity of the human spirit, enhanced by luminary precision. When the last enemy ship flew back through its spatial fold, the cheers that erupted in the integration chamber were echoed around the world. Humanity had faced its first interstellar war and emerged victorious, not through strength alone, but through unity with their ancient guardians. "It's not over," General Reeves reminded them, ever practical. "They'll be back." "Yes," Zyra agreed, her markings pulsing with fierce pride. "But when they return, they'll find something they've never encountered before. Two species that have learned to fight as one. And next time, we'll be even stronger." Thora looked at the main screen, where the countdown had been replaced by a new message. "Unity protocol active." Below it, data streamed in from around the world, integration chambers being permanently established, cultural exchange programs beginning, two species learning to live and grow together. "You know," she said, smiling at Zyra, "I don't think your ancestors could have imagined this when they first came to Earth." "No," Zyra replied, her markings glowing with joy. "They hoped to preserve your species. Instead, you helped us reclaim ours. Perhaps that's the greatest victory of all." Outside, the auroras continued to dance across the sky, no longer a warning or a weapon, but a symbol of what humanity and the luminary had achieved together. A testament to the truth that in unity there is strength beyond measure.